Hello, I'm Nelson Amaral, and I have been an instructor for 229 for quite a while. And I'm here with Mike MacGregor, and I'm very excited to learn that Mike is our instructor for 229 for this fall term. So in my understanding, Mike, is that you are coming back to teaching after a long time assignment.
After 10 years in central administration.
Yes.
And I'm very glad to be back teaching, and especially glad to be back teaching this course.
So you taught this a long time ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Previous architecture, previous hardware generations.
So from what you have seen and learned about what we are doing currently in this course, what are the main differences that you see?
Oh my, I mean the scale and the application of the platforms now is immense. When I taught this course, you know, the thinking was maybe multi-processors, you know, maybe that kind of thing. And we've gone well along from there to the point where, you know, the majority of processing is in a cloud. You may or may not know what resources you're using. You may or may not even think about resources, you know, the resources that you're allocating. The article you sent me yesterday, or about TenStore, it just is startling in terms of the scale of operation and the scale of application of the hardware platform, all the way from milliwatt microprocessors up to tens of megawatt systems. So
in the last 2 days, I've been watching the talks at Hot Chips in Stanford with my students. And yesterday there was a talk about this project from the Chinese Academy of Science. Server level RISC-V computer that's completely open source and can be taped out by anyone. So we talk about, and you've seen some articles about how RISC-V is really being used widely and broadly, right? So when you talked last, was it MIPS? Yeah, so I like to say that MIPS is your grandfather processor. What do you think about RISC-V?
Oh, I mean, I love the architectural concept and I love the scalability. So being able to take a core all the way from a small IoT edge device up to server and data center scale is amazing.
Yeah, and it is quite interesting because I think RISC-V is here to stay. And people that are learning RISC-V this term at the UFA will probably be seeing this processor being used for a long time, for many years. In many things.
Well, and you'll see it from different aspects, right? You'll see it from the hardware aspect. Yes, that's certainly true. But you'll also see it, I mean, as you well know, from the compiler side, right? There are complexities that we may allude to a little bit in Compute 229, right? Out of order execution and the kinds of things that go on there. Students that proceed further into the compiler course, for example, will have to learn more about that. With RISC-V, you've got the choice as to whether you want to implement, whether you want to use a simple in-order pipeline, or whether you want to go to a very aggressive, very high-speed parallel machine. And that's all in the same processor family, completely different from MIPS.
So from that TenStore article, and I also saw the talk at Hot Chips. One of the things that I like is that they have tons of different RISC-V processor in that AI machine that they call baby RISC-Vs. And looking at their baby RISC-Vs, that's exactly what we are teaching in 229. The version of RISC-V that we teach in 229 is the baby RISC-Vs that they are using by having a replication of them in this supercomputer for AI. So one of the questions that I like to talk with the students, and maybe we can talk about here, is why learn assembly programming if we're likely never to write assembly programming in our professional lives?
Okay, but okay, so there is the first possibility. You may have to know what's going on in assembly if you're a compiler or an interpreter writer. So that's totally on, right? If you're at that, if that's your career, then you absolutely have to know this stuff. The next level above that, though, is performance. And you have to know how a processor performs. If you're going to write software, you can't just throw spaghetti at a wall and hope it sticks. Your clients, the folks you work for, the folks you work with, and you yourself are going to demand the absolute best performance out of a processor, out of 1,000 processors, out of 10,000 processors that you can get. You dare not waste that level of that amount of computation. Even today, the size of the large language models demand large numbers of processors and large numbers of processors working efficiently. So you can't just kind of throw your code at the machine and hope it runs well. If you can squeeze 5% performance out of a processor by understanding what's going on fairly far down in the machine at the assembly level, then you'll be ahead of the game by doing that.
And also you're going to understand much better how software works, right? I think that's important.
Yeah.
So good luck with the guitar. And I know that we have lots of exciting labs that we developed. They are all new. So I'm looking forward to hear how the term goes in the fall. And as you know, I'll be the instructor for the winter term.
And happy to meet the new students for this term, and very, very much looking forward to working with you all.
Nice chatting with you.
Thank you, Nelson.